what's the best
No.
Christmas gift?
Where are you right now?
Best
No, we're starting like that again. Where are you right now? Where are you?
Oklahoma City.
And why are you in Oklahoma City?
Because I didn't want to be in my apartment for Christmas.
So I just want for everybody out there listening to this podcast, watching this podcast on YouTube, please subscribe on YouTube, subscribe. Follow us on every platform.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. You are in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you in Oklahoma City?
Because I didn't want to be in my apartment.
Do you have any relations to anybody in Oklahoma City?
I used to live in Tulsa.
Do you? No. I didn't ask you about fucking Tulsa. Do you know? Do you have any relation to the town of Oklahoma? Is there any importance for you being Oklahoma City right now? You chose to vacation to Oklahoma City. It's no.
Listen.
No. Did you choose?
I'm telling you, we wanted to get out of our apartment. There was nowhere else available.
So many other places.
We would have gone anywhere.
Denver.
If it were available and
Pueblo,
had the
Colorado.
proper amenities. The place that was the best option available was in OKC. And it's not about, we're not trying to do anything except relax. All right.
This is you guys are on a PCP murder trip. I've watched 2020. I watched it. I've watched MSNBC.
Who we gonna
on the
murder
weekends
except each other? We're not going anywhere.
This is a murder trip. You guys went on a PCP filled murder trip. I've seen this on the TV, on the white TV. This is a PCP murder trip. I know one. Just going to a random town. You're gonna kill a Latin man because you're racist and you think nobody.
He's undocumented and nobody's gonna notice.
Yeah. You think I see how you fucking think. You're on a PCP murder trip.
I'm not murdering anybody.
You're gonna PCP murder somebody. Bathe in their blood. I know it.
Maybe I'm trying to dodge a court date because I was away. All right. Maybe that's why I needed to get to OKC and not in Texas.
You've never been in the streets.
Which is it? Do I want to kill people in OKC or have I not been in the streets? Because it can't be both.
Both. It can be both.
It can't be both. It can't be both. Doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Doesn't make any sense.
I don't. All right. I've done a podcast with the murderer. What are we doing today?
We're doing Christmas traditions, the origins of a lot of the traditions surrounding Christmas and a lot of the herbs that are used during Christmas and just kind of how this holiday was birthed and what holes it crawled out of. How about that, right?
Yeah. Wow. Do you have a positive image of Christmas?
So you look at this. December 25th as the actual date. The Romans celebrated that date as part of the winter solstice, part of a broader festival known as Saturnalia, celebrating the god Saturn or Saturnus, who was the Roman god of agriculture. And Saturnalia was initially celebrated from December 17th to 19th. I've heard once the emperor system was initiated, it was extended for another 7 days from December 17th, which would put the end of it at the December 24th, so modern Christmas Eve. And the plants that are associated with the god Saturn were things like fir and spruce and pine, yew, cypress, and cedar, which are all still traditional Christmas herbs and spices.
Is Christmas herb?
Christmas herbs
for all the weed
spices,
smokers out here, the Christmas herb people. There's.
Why do you think I'm in OKC, man? It's medical over here. All right, that's
wow. What an excuse.
The one thing, but that's what they need it to remind themselves that they're living, or to forget the fact that they're
no, you don't get to shit on OKC anymore, Oklahoma. You vacationed there.
Brought in some valuable tourist dollars so they can repair these shitty fucking roads.
Great. $12 to go around, everybody. Thanks, Henry.
Just doing my part. All right. December 25th, it's also the birthday of a couple different gods, such as the Persian god of light, this man named Mithras. On the 25th, Egyptians celebrated this holiday known as Chronia, which is the birthday of Isis's son Horus. The Alexandrians, which are still Egyptians, like the Cleopatra dynasty, if you want to think of it like that, celebrated this festival called Kaikelia on December 25th, and it was like a 12-day feast starting on that date. One of my favorite festivals, the ye old weirdo festivals, is the Erotic Bean Feast. And its origins may be in Saturnalia, but it's like native to Europe. And it's on the last of these smudging nights where like different tribes or like Europeans would smudge like smoke on themselves pretty much, or they would burn a bunch of different herbs and they would take the char and like smudge it on themselves or protect themselves from wandering spirits. The last of those smudging nights was December 6th, and they made a cake with a single bean inside of that cake, and whoever got the slice with the bean was pronounced the quote-unquote bean king, and he had to host the feast held on January 6th and lead the party in the singing of obscene songs.
I feel like this is just where you come from. Like, you come from the bean people.
These are my people, man.
You come from like whatever this is, the bean
people.
Bean people. That's why you're trying to tell us about like your family tradition.
Throwing down at these bean festivals, man. Yeah, this is it. All right, these are the roots. Okay?
You definitely look like a man who enjoys a good bean.
Good bean orgy. That's what they did, man. It was a Roman practice.
I know you've tried to get a girl hot about beans.
That's what's so weird about it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's spreads to Germany, Netherlands, France, and like the erotic bean feast. That's why it's the erotic bean feast on January 6th. The feasting where they would make a bunch of bean dishes and then they would just have an orgy after.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like. Because that's like the same type of thought. They're like, you know, anything like all the stuff that can get you like have a good erection or whatever, like all this random stuff you can buy, like all these different medical prices. Somebody's like, yo, beans and like
beans. Let me tell you though, beans are sexy. All right, forget everything you knew about whipped cream. It's now refried beans. All right, refried beans are the new whip. You got to drip the strawberries in refried beans.
Two things. You know, refried beans are just mashed beans. No, angry.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they're literally just like I made them like last week.
There's
just
no
get a little
secret?
garlic. Yeah, just a little garlic, sear it, and then pour the beans in. Let that work, and then you like may add some like cumin, chili powder, and then you just mash those beans. Add a little lime, a little bit that like tortilla cheese.
Don't you have to like cook them in lard or something to get them that consistency?
No, I literally did that without lard. It's just mashed beans.
Yeah, that kind of takes the magic out of it.
Yeah, there wasn't any magic before.
Like you just told me that Santa Claus wasn't weird or real. You know what I mean? I'm just I don't know what to do. All right.
Okay, I will just let you live in that other lie.
Just live in this hole. Right,
also,
cool.
Also, like it would be so weird to like meet the person that you had that bean orgy with, like late, like in May. Like you just meet them.
You probably knew them because like smaller civilizations, smaller communities, and then just see them like selling fish or whatever, and just be like, hey. We
got pretty hairy there, me and you, and then he's like,
the bean orgy,
he or she is like, yeah. In my imagination, it's just two dudes at a market, just like I didn't want to do that, but I was in the moment, and it was like, no, we're just not going to talk about it. And then every year at the bean festival, they meet up and they do the same thing. It's like it's not an accident. You do it twice in a row. It's not an accident. You got a bean lover. You got a bean lover, and
you stick by your bean lover and buy their halibut at the market and pretend everything's cool. All right, halibut's the new signal. Like,
sometimes when he sells you fish, sometimes when he sells you fish, your hands touch. That nigga's in love. Just be in love.
And you look up and you catch their eyes, and they look up and they catch your eyes for a moment, solitary moment. You know that they were at that bean orgy. They know that you were at that bean orgy.
Yeah.
And you're not trying to blow your cover, right? Because it's a little weird out here.
You're in the closet because it's 1352. Yeah.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes then you don't see him for years. And and then one you don't see them for years, and you forget all about that. And your
Mhm.
kids grow up, and they leave the home, and they go get pillaged and burned out by some barbarians. But then years
Yep.
later, you're going back to that bean orgy, and
Yep.
then you've forgotten all about that. But then you feel a touch. It's your
Somewhere
bean
inside you, there's always a part of you that's gonna crave some halibut. All right.
And you don't know
You know
why.
why.
You don't know
You
why.
know what? You don't know why.
I mean, maybe you know why. I don't know.
Maybe
Well,
you
look.
really do know why, and you just put it in the back of your mind to where you
Yeah.
don't really want to access it. You don't really want to unpack
You
that
forgot
one.
about
You
your
know what I
bean man.
mean? But you're right. It's all about the halibut, man. You're a halibut man now, right? Always looking.
You got a halibut. What?
Halibut.
Halibut. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I should never do stand up again.
So in the 17th century, just to show you how crazy these like bean orgies were, the Covenant of Saint Geronimo in Granada, they banned bean soup from their monastery because of its erotic reputation, because it was bean soup was too sexy, and so they had to ban it because people were getting too excited about beans.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Just,
Like some dude just
it
goes
makes
over.
no sense.
It's just some dude just comes over, just like a lady, like, would you like some black beans?
Some black
And she's just like,
beans.
you know how I love them black beans.
And
it's just like, they're just always, what the fuck y'all talking about black beans for 25 minutes?
Beans, yep.
This is nasty.
This is a little weird. No garbanzo beans in this house. All right.
You know I love to swallow black beans. This is nasty. They're banned from the monastery. Can I see what y'all doing with those black beans?
Get out of here. All right. You got the wrong idea. The book that I read.
Sorry.
The book that I read for this is called Pagan Christmas: The Plant Spirits and Rituals and Origins of Yuletide by Christian Racht and Claudia Müller-Ebling, who are two Germans. They're saying that as of the writing of the book in 2003, it said that to that day or to that year, and so I don't imagine why it isn't still going on today, that bean kings are still crowned in Germany. And it kind of reminds me of I think it's the King's Day Festival, where they bury the baby Jesus in a piece of cake, and whoever has that piece of cake has to throw the next party. There's not an exact link because it's not beans, but it's the same idea.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Here's the thing. Ever since reading about Marie Laveau, I'm kind of scared to talk down on New Orleans. I was already kind of scared because I grew up in like the Lil Wayne Cash Money era of like when New Orleans was like grew up in Houston. So I've already been kind of scared. But now with Marie Laveau, New Orleans is just a town full of beautiful people with
That's
a
right.
lot of beautiful traditions. And no, it ain't a town full of voodoo and twerking and very lax murder laws.
Yeah.
And,
and kids playing excellent drums in the middle of Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
So you're scared?
That's what you get. That's what you get from New Orleans. You get kids playing drums.
And like Chewbacca hustling me for money, trying to get my picture to take.
Yeah,
trying to pay me for a picture to take with him. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Fuck that guy. Like, you're not special. But I could do what you're doing, I think I could at least. Maybe it's a hard knock life.
Yeah, your envy of anybody who gets gigs is hilarious.
I am a petty man. Exceedingly petty. All right.
That motherfucker think he can spin that sign? I can spin that goddamn sign.
Spin that goddamn sign, man. Give me a shot. Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
All right, come on.
Yeah. You don't even want the job. Then you complain when you get it.
I got problems. Right?
We all got problems, big dog.
Getting into the plants of Christmas, there was this other Roman cult, the Bacchus Cult. It considered holly the female counterpart to the male ivy. And the Romans, the Bacchus Cult would decorate the doors of their homes with wreaths made out of holly and ivy, much like the wreaths that we have today, although I'm sure there's some like pine mixed in with the wreaths, but it's not important like what plant was involved, but the fact that wreaths were hung at all.
It's weird. It's weird how these cultures, like, it's a cult and they just like they filtered into like, I'm still doing cult shit basically.
Basically, yeah. It's weird, a lot of shit that just flies under the radar,
Yeah.
Like Mormonism, but
Yeah, your petty grievance with Mormonism is also hilarious.
They get gigs. All right, come on.
Like,
This practice of hanging reefs was actually forbade by this church official Quintus Tertullian in the 2nd century because it was acknowledged as pagan, I'm pretty sure, and it's eventually reinterpreted to where the spiky leaves of holly are reminiscent. The book I mentioned before is saying that the spiky leaves of holly are reminiscent of the crown of thorns placed on Jesus's head, and that's the justification that is given by Tertullian as why wreaths are not pagan. They are, in fact, Christian because they invoke Jesus's struggle.
Look, man, look. You can like spin it.
You can spin it, man.
You can spin like, look,
spin it.
You know, this guy would have been a master Republican strategist.
Oh, he would have been great. He would have been like, yeah, just, yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or just a great anchor on MSNBC. Let's just spin it.
Just spin it, man.
That, big dog.
Let's just scratch this. All right. I know the best spinners I know. It's either DJs or right-wing media hosts.
Right-wing media hosts. Some look. Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah. A lot of. So what? Let's not do that because we get into the politics stuff, and then I'm angry about why I don't.
Then I'm in a bad mood for the rest of the cast.
How much I just paid for healthcare, and why it shouldn't be free for everybody. You know what? Never mind.
Let's not worry about it. Right? Getting into more Christmas traditions, you've got the Scandinavians and the Germans, who are both like pagans, roughly in like ancient history at the time that we're talking about, like early CE. They worship the fir tree as a representation of Yggdrasil, which is the Nordic world tree that, big dog Odin hung himself from in order to obtain ultimate knowledge. I think he has his eyes gouged out, or one of his eyes gouged out by like a raven, and then he hangs himself from a tree. So he dies, and then he goes to hell, or their version of hell, and is reborn, and then he comes back with ultimate knowledge by hanging himself from this tree. And so the Germans, or the pagans, in paying homage to that, they would decorate a tree known as the Donnerroak. And that tree is considered important to the spirits because it's like a representation of Yggdrasil, and it's like a bastion of culture. And just going to show you the overlap between the newly Christian Romans and the pagans on the fringes of the empire. You've got this guy Pliny the Elder, who I think is like a Roman historian from 23 to 79 CE, emphasizing the importance of the forests to the pagans. He's saying that, quote unquote, forests were the temples of higher powers, and even today, a very beautiful tree is still dedicated to the god in an age-old custom on the countryside.
Yggdrasil does sound like a type of medicine that is now sold behind the counter in a lot of parts of the country because it's used to make meth. Like you can't get no Yggdrasil just at a Walgreens in Arkansas. They don't allow that no more.
No, you gotta go around. You gotta go around back and meet a guy named Bubba with an eye patch if you want some of that Yggdrasil.
Yeah, some of that Yggdrasil. There's
going to be a hell of a markup, all right? Because we had to get it from the cartel.
That Yggdrasil,
the German cartel. Okay.
You talk about Pfizer. Come on.
We don't know what's going in this vaccine. All right.
Here's
a little
the thing,
bit
bro.
of Yggdrasil.
We could be such a big podcast if we were anti-vax, but we don't want to do that to people. So chill.
We don't want to spread misinformation. Yeah. No, there's no Yggdrasil in your vaccine. Please get vaccinated, please. The Romans catch on once
Propaganda.
They kind of.
No, I'm joking.
Once Constantine ushers in the new wave of Christianity, Romans catch on to the importance of the world tree and the decoration of trees. There's this Roman emperor Theodosius the Great, who before they kind of adopt it, Theodosius the Great, he's from 347 to 395 Common Era. He forbids what he calls pagan traditions. One of which is the decoration of holy trees. So what we would know as a Christmas tree. It is until this Roman theologian, Aurelius Augustinus, or Father Augustine, from 354 to 430 CE, he says, do not kill the heathens, just convert them. Do not cut down their holy trees, consecrate them to Jesus Christ. And this is how the Christmas tree, at least this book is claiming, is adopted into the pantheon of Christianity, and then it's started to be worshipped as like a Christian symbol, and then it kind of like not pollinate, I guess pollinates in Europe and kind of remains in Europe, and then it spreads to the US and then elsewhere.
Okay. So like my friends like weird family when I was like in middle school who didn't celebrate Christmas, they were right. This
Maybe.
shit don't got nothing to do with Jesus.
It's
got nothing to do with Jesus.
depends on who you ask, man. It's all about the spin. It's all about how you spin it.
It's all about that. All about that. Whew. I just wish I had the persuasion powers
of these sophists, right? Of these blind, but yeah.
It's been a long year.
So committed to a cause. It's crazy, man. I can't imagine. There's this other, getting into more like herbs and spice. The herbs and spices of Christmas. The Germanic goddess or god Frau Hall and Wotan or Odin. Frau Hall would lead a group of spirits on this thing, roughly encompassing like the latter months or latter weeks of December, called Wotan's Wild Hunt, which is called like the Holland or Holden. And the holy plants associated with those two gods are like ivy, holly, mistletoe, and other green winter palms. Mistletoe in particular was considered the most important magical plant by the Celtic druids of like modern United Kingdom, because it's like a parasitic plant that would grow on top of other plants. And so you'd have your trees grow up to these super tall heights, and then mistletoe would grow around those trees and eventually surpass the height of your tallest tree. And so they were thought to have like a special connection to heaven in this regard, because they were the highest thing available.
That's logic, dog.
Isn't it?
That is logic. Yep. Yeah, it's closer to the sky, so it's closer to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's why we're trying to build these skyscrapers, man. The bigger the skyscraper, the closer you are to God.
If you have the top office
mm-hmm.
in a skyscraper, a lot of people in this country believe you are closer to God.
You're closer to God.
More worthy of, that's why we do this podcast. It doesn't look like it, but I'm actually on a skyscraper.
I'm in an attic right now, so I'm feeling the spirit. Okay.
But you're in the attic and okay.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what type of spirit you feel.
I'm moving it all.
It's all you're trying to feel the spirit of meth. That's what it feels like.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
But why are you singing though?
Because I'm anointed. All right. I'm in the attic. I'm in the lofts. All right.
You're not.
I'm the closest that I can get to God.
I could walk up some stairs somewhere. If you were close to God, he would scoot you over because you sweat too much.
Did you put on deodorant today?
Get out of here, dude.
Get out of here. What are you doing?
Get out of here, dude. Stop it.
You need to go hang out with Odin or something at the Yggdrasil. All right.
The
rejects.
Okay.
So Celtics, they also worship the holly tree, which they have like spiky green leaves that grow on red berries, and you see that imagery a lot with Christmas. And the Druids had holy robes, and the robes that they had were white robes with red capes. So there you see the repetition of two modern Christmas colors. It isn't until 1604 that you've got this is what the book is claiming again, that you've got 1604, the first recorded instance of a fir tree being brought into a home and decorated with offerings and candles and apples and tinsel in Strasbourg. 1848, there's this guy, Prince Albert, who's German, and he's the husband of Queen Victoria I, and he brings the tradition to England. And so now you see Christmas trees being brought into homes in England, where again it like pollinates and spreads to the US.
I know in 1604 for sure the first person to bring a tree into the house, their family thought they were having a breakdown. Like they didn't get that promotion, and their family's just like, so you're just gonna bring a tree, and he's like, no, it's for celebration. It's like, damn, we got to put him in the ward, dog. We have to put him in that psych ward because he don't
have to get him checked out, man.
Bringing trees in here.
he's been doing too much of that Yggdrasil.
Yeah,
right? He's got his mind all sorts of mixed up and shit. All right, he doesn't know what he's doing
on that Yggdrasil. You know how it goes. It goes marijuana, which is the gateway drug, Yggdrasil,
Mm-hmm.
fentanyl. That's it.
Fentanyl.
Then
Then you go clear Yggdrasil, Clearasil. You start eating your own eye drops.
You go Yggdrasil clear. That's just Yggdrasil. New type of Yggdrasil.
Distilled. You can do shots of Yggdrasil, right? It's like a little like moonshine, only more earthen.
I'm gonna tell you, it always ends in fentanyl.
It always ends in fentanyl, man. It's a
That's
vicious. That's where you end up. You keep on chasing those higher and higher heights.
End game is fentanyl.
And you end up in some apartment of some stranger that you've never met, and their baby overdoses. Or not overdoses, it vomits and chokes.
I would argue a little bit different. I would argue that's not a toddler's death that we're involved with. And when you do fentanyl, I would argue.
Train spotting. You haven't seen Train
Spotting?
I
haven't. No, I haven't. I haven't seen that. That's one I always missed. But what I am saying about fentanyl is sometimes you do fentanyl and you end up just in an apartment in OKC because you want to take a trip out of town.
That's right, man. That's right. That's right, man.
The boy's on fentanyl. That's all you would take that.
It isn't until 1912 that you see the first Christmas tree seen in America. I know it's in New York, at least, maybe in Times Square, and this is where it really takes off. So Siberian mythology describes this thing that's known as like a heavenly hunt, where all the Siberian shamans of Russia would ride in sleighs drawn by reindeer throughout the sky looking for the world tree. So they're not delivering presents, but they are riding reindeer through the sky, gallivanting, and they've got a quest, to say the least.
So they're looking for the world tree?
The world tree.
It just sounds like potheads from college that you knew that like just didn't stop being potheads. Like most people like started working for an insurance company and now they don't smoke as much because they got like a dog and like they actually love that girl and she like wants them to be more. You know what I mean? These are like the niggas who just never stopped smoking. Now they're just going around looking for that world tree.
Looking for that Yggdrasil, man. Looking for that hookup.
Look. No, I'll take my earlier statement. That was a joke. The world tree is not a gateway drug to Yggdrasil. It's not. People just do Yggdrasil all the time.
Oh, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Right. Yo, this is if you start listening to the podcast here, you're gonna be so confused. So please go back. Like, I don't know who's just like skipping ahead to like, about 25 minutes.
About Christmas traditions. Yeah. I'm gonna check this one out.
Skipping at 25 minutes. And no, please go back.
Like, a little bit, please. And then really help us out.
We're doing jokes. We like to do this thing called callbacks, and I don't know if it's a comedic device that lesser comics use.
They can't think of their own things, and so they have to return to repeated themes in order to compensate for their own laziness as a writer. Right?
Instead of writing a goddamn punchline.
Instead of writing a goddamn pun. All right. General So-So's chicken, mediocre Chinese food. Come on.
Oh, you want to hear my best? Yeah, you want to do the best puns? The best. You have a Christmas pun?
A Christmas pun? Yeah.
No, let's not do that. We'll get a little bit too crazy. All right, let's continue. Sorry.
All right. You also get into some of the like other folk tales surrounding Christmas. In Germany, again, you've got Santa Claus, or Saint Nicholas at the time, what he's known as at the time, is depicted with his helper, this other being known as Knecht Ruprecht. And KR, Knecht Ruprecht, stems back from even further. The book is arguing that he is the general of, or one of the generals of Odin / Wotan that was present in Wotan's Wild Hunt, which is where it's 12 days where the spirits have like free reign to go and hunt the sun, and people would like burn incense and engage in these things called smudging rites, where they would like smudge mixtures on their faces and homes to protect themselves from the spirits who are off hunting the sun. And Knecht Ruprecht was known as Krampus in the Alpine regions of Germany. And this is that weird motherfucker that everybody's obsessed with in the modern era, who's like rewarding good children, but like whipping and abducting bad children instead of just giving them coal.
Yo, that is definitely a pedophile.
A little weird. It's kind of a weird thing
That's
to
a
have in your
pedophile
national consciousness. It's like if there was if one of Santa's helpers was abducting people, I think it would kind of fuck me up as a nation too. I think it might.
Yeah, well, then, but also like with Krampus, it's like he's giving treats or he's abducting and whipping children. Like with Santa Claus, it's like, yo, I asked for this. I sent you a letter, my guy, and he comes and he just either like, yeah, I fuck with you, or I'm dumping coal. The other Krampus is like, yeah, I'm gonna give these good kids a treat.
They're
What's
serious.
that treat, nigga?
Yeah.
What's that treat? That's nasty.
Who knows?
That sounds like that treat is your penis.
I don't know, man.
That's what Krampus sounds like. That's what it just sounds like.
Krampus is a weird guy. There's a very, very severe consequences for it's like Santa Claus. It's like you can choose to fuck with me or not fuck with me. Like you can be good and I'll give you presents, or you can be bad and you're gonna get coal. But there are like serious repercussions.
Yeah,
Krampus, aside from just self-esteem issues with Krampus, there's like a threat if you misbehave with Krampus.
Yeah, like Krampus is like, oh, I'm gonna whip or abduct you. What, nigga? What is that ever like? And like, why he go straight to whipping? Why is that like his first thing? Like that's the lower level. He's like, I'm gonna whip you. What is that about? I'm
pretty sure the Pied Piper is also from Germany, or at least around the region, where it's like a dude with a pipe that leads a bunch of kids off of a cliff after he won't get paid. So I'm like, what is with Germans and hating their children?
It's a dark place, man. It's a dark place full of it's weird. It's weird. I think it's like a reaction to the French. I'm pretty sure with the Germans. They're like, yo, those people love life too much. We should not love it at all.
We need to get hardcore about it. We're trying to really get this national beef popped off, and we gotta.
Those people to the south are way too like into life and into being happy.
Soft.
And nothing's on time. Nothing's on time. All the places to the south, Italy, France, nothing on time. We're gonna be on time, people, because it's a little bit colder up here, and not just outside, in our hearts also. So, Also, Santa Claus is always with the coal. Like, yeah, what you give me coal? Judging me if I'm been naughty or nice. Who the fuck are you to judge me? You never lived my life. You haven't been through the struggle with me.
You don't know you don't know what I've seen.
You're not part of the gang.
You know what I used to do? I would get so mad when Santa Claus would give me coal that I would take all of the coal, put it into some socks, and then beat the shit out of people with it.
And look, I just want that to be evidence.
There was an old bit of mine that I just haven't. That never worked.
No, don't try to peel back out of it now. That is evidence, people. If there is a PCP murder in OKC,
with coal and socks, suspect. It's first degree now. I mean, shit, it's threats out. All right.
Yeah, so many questions.
I like this one a lot. The book mentioned that there was this Peruvian tradition where they're claiming that the Virgin Mary is escaping to Egypt either to give birth to Jesus or to escape with Jesus to somewhere else. She's escaping to Egypt for some reason, and she rests underneath the coca bush, and she eats some of its leaves. And the coca leaves, they should sound familiar. They have a stimulating effect. They were chewed by the Incas for strength, and they're what's synthesized into cocaine. And in this story, Virgin Mary, she chews the leaves and she gets some of that coca strength, and she's able to successfully elude her captors by chewing on some of them leaves, man.
Let me tell you something about the coca and the coca planters. Come on, dog. It's very, very. It was actually like a socialist struggle dealing with the coca planters in Bolivia, and I'm pretty sure it's Peru also. Yeah. So like, look, you know what I mean? Let those people live. It's not their fault. You got to attack the middlemen. They always attack both ends of the spectrum.
Trying to demonize the lower class. Right?
Yeah, but they never want to talk about the distributors, the people who are facilitating this distribution. You know what? Come on, dog. Because there's no way. You know what?
They never want to talk about Reagan. All right.
They don't want to
never
talk
want
about
to talk
Reagan.
about Reagan and Miami and all that
Everybody
shit.
we
all right?
partner with on the drug, on like the drug front, like to catch people, like it comes out 10 years later that they were doing cocaine the whole time.
They were off the rails.
Yeah,
man.
they were
yeah.
fucking just they were just competing.
Wasn't there
just
like a
handed them
super
guns.
huge cocaine boom while Reagan was president? Am I
Yeah.
talking about my ass on this one? Or was
No,
like
they're all-
everybody just like the Wall Street guys were just taking the fuck off and they were like, yeah, man, Reagan's incredible. All right.
Yeah, no, Reagan. Yeah, there was a bunch of cocaine. I mean, because they were, that's how they were. We don't want to get into Saint Denisha's
Coke
and like
Daddy,
how they were
Reagan.
funding,
All right. Yeah.
how they were like sending all these different Southern American like kind of right wing people.
And maybe Fidel was implicated in some of this shit.
Oh, they're different. There's a lot. Everybody, a lot of cocaine. A lot of people got a lot of cocaine on their hands, like cocaine on their hands. That's the border,
including perhaps maybe our newly elected Speaker of the House, maybe
Nancy Pelosi.
McConnell.
Oh, that's not the House. That's the leader
Speaker
of the
Senate.
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 Is the Senate leader?
I'm sorry.
Oh no, his that is the most fun. No, that's heroin. That's not
Heroin.
cocaine. That's heroin.
A little fentanyl then. Okay.
Yeah, a little fentanyl
All right.
then.
Sorry.
That's
I got confused.
Wife's family is like implicated in like heroin smuggling. Like like their ships, they're like shipping magnets.
We're gonna have to do an ep on this. This is crazy.
That's
I really want to know more about this.
It's known. It's like a known thing that nobody like is questioned and been like, yeah, but like, so why was there just a bunch of heroin? I think it was heroin. It might be cocaine, but I'm pretty sure it was heroin on your ship. It's like, like what? Like,
well, you see, I needed to get the shipment for Indiana. All right, Indiana is the one who requested me import all of this. Okay, this other herb associated with Christmas, saffron. Apparently, saffron helps the absorption of THC. So if you're looking to get a little shot in the arm before you hit your pen, get you some saffron, man. In ancient Rome, saffron was associated with Sol Invictus, which is the rebirth of the sun, part of the winter solstice, dedicated to Venus. I'm not sure exactly which era this was, but it's there. There's also this other weird one. That's the German peppering ritual, whereby young, innocent girls of childbearing age were beaten with a life rod, quote unquote, on December 28th. And this was designed to increase fertility amongst German girls.
Wow.
Like, weird. It was a weird one.
No. We should just leave women to like. We should just let women do with their bodies.
We should not hit them with sticks, thinking they're going to be more fertile after we hit them with a crop. Yeah,
do their bodies. That's what
weird.
We should.
That's a weird one, man.
Men should stay. All men should keep our hands behind our backs.
Mm-hmm. we were all handcuffed. And
I don't want to be handcuffed. Don't do that.
Yeah,
don't be weird. Don't be in a loft.
To that one.
Don't be in a loft talking about handcuffing.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, also, just looked it up. Was wrong. Not heroin. Cocaine.
Cocaine. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
It was cocaine. I wanted it to be heroin because I wanted to connect it to Kentucky and an opioid crisis. But I miss her. It's cocaine. Mitch McConnell family sells cocaine. Let's just get that out there. Let's
make a trend, man. Let's get it out there. All
his
right.
family law, cocaine.
I want to look into this. This is crazy to me.
It's the story. It's the story.
The last thing I want to talk about is in 274. There's this Roman emperor Aurelianus. He created the cult of Deuce Sol Invictus, or Do Sol Invictus, which is God of the Invincible Sun. It's also celebrated on December 25th. It's celebrated by the book that perhaps the date was selected as an optimal day to view the sun based on the position in the sky. Because winter solstice, the sun's at like its lowest point, but maybe the 25th, it was at like a lower point. And so they chose the 25th because of that reason. But you've got all this like historical stuff, primarily based in like Rome and Europe and Egypt, but mainly like continental Europe, that are still Christmas traditions that we practice today. Only we've repackaged it, which I thought was kind of cool.
And that is our Christmas episode for this year. Some tradition, some history of the traditions of different spices, different plants, different leaves, the different trees, and some odd facts about Christmas. We give you guys a kind of a special break from our Western episode series. We want to thank you guys for listening. We want to thank you guys for listening to this podcast. It's growing. It's going. And you got to save in Henry's life, because I promised to murder him if it didn't grow. I promised to throw his body into the Buffalo Bayou and watch it float. And I smoked a cigarette and listen to Russian Doomer music.
Yeah, after he stuffed me full of avocados, right? So somebody would find me and assume that I was just a piñata full of avocados or a big.
Why would I waste avocados on you?
Chili
you
relleno.
Sociopath.
Send a message, man. It's that PCP talking. I'm sorry.
The piece of that OKCPCP. You see, it rhymes. It's weird.
OKCPCP. Yeah, it's pretty. It kind of rolls off the tongue. Actually, it's pretty nice.
Again, thank you for listening. Thank you guys. Our next episode, that's going to be the end of the year. In our next episode, we're going to get back to the West.
Jesus, already. Yeah.
Guys, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Have a Merry Christmas. What do you think? Henry, what did you want to say?
We're just doing Geronimo next week.
Next week.
Geronimo, Apache leader, Apache resistance fighter, and he is I think he's the last U.S. indigenous warrior that we're going to talk about in our Western series before we hit the Outlaws. So it's coming up, man. Stay tuned.
Look, man, you don't want to miss that. Other than that, again, Merry Christmas. Come back next week. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah already passed. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy what's the one that they celebrate in Latin countries? It's like the day after Christmas, whatever that is. Happy that.
I know the Brits do Boxing Day, and that
Boxing Day. I'm watching all the matches, dog.
That would be
many matches I'm watching.
Dia del Caja, but that's not.
Okay, we're not doing raw speculation. Okay,
that's what I'm all about.
Again, follow us, like us, share,
subscribe, review, rate, tell a friend, all that shit. Please.
You can find us at Hardfire History on Instagram and Facebook, Hardfire History on YouTube, HFH Podcast on Twitter. You find me at Joshua B. Stokes on Instagram and Twitter. Josh Stokes on Facebook. Henry, where can they find you at?
Just Henry E. Price on Instagram, just Henry Price on Facebook.
We love you.
That's right.
Come back soon. Come back next time. We'll see you next time, guys. And
Merry Christmas.
You've ruined. You just ruined Christmas for everybody. What happened with Merry Christmas, guys? And happy. Well, no, we just did. We can't do Merry Christmas as we done Happy Hanukkah, then Happy Kwanzaa. See, that is the problem with our